All right, I'm going to start the webinar here, everybody. I have to preface this by saying this is the first webinar that I've hosted, so hopefully everything goes smoothly. But thank you, everyone, for joining. Right now, we're going to have Graham Bailey speak on working with your LDCs, and I'm going to make him a presenter right now. So let's get this started here. And Graham, I think you should be good to go.
Okay, is that, you see me?
Yes. And
Okay.
if anyone has any questions, Graham, are you still okay with people just typing them, and I can ask them for everyone as we go?
Yeah, absolutely. Very informal, just as we're going along. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to just stop me and or shoot Tyler an email, and we'll go ahead and address it there on the spot.
All right. Sounds good.
We ready?
I believe so.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us and Clean Fuels Ohio for the opportunity. Sorry for the technical difficulties. That's probably my lack of technologically advanced understanding. But wanted to go through the process. You know, one of the aspects of CNG station development and employment or deployment is you know, working with the local distribution company, the utility, working with how can we get the infrastructure in place to help get the right pressure needed for station development. Just a little bit about Vectren. In 2000, Sigico, Southern Indiana Gas and Electric Company, which is this light blue area, merged with Indiana Gas, which is the green part, to form Vectren. A couple months later, bought the gas side of Dayton Power and Light to form Vectren altogether. We have about 1 million gas customers in these areas, and then right here in the very small southwest part of Indiana, we have about 140, 150,000 electric customers. So really focusing on, you know, how can we be proactive in helping this CNG growth and movement, so to speak, continue to grow. A little bit of history about myself. I've been with the company for almost exactly 6 years. I've held a couple different positions. Back in January of 2012, they asked me to really be the focal point or the contact for any type of CNG inquiries. We started getting quite a few from municipalities, companies within our service territory, you know, just asking the very general broad, what is CNG, what's the cost, you know, how, I'm hearing that we can save a lot of money on our transportation costs, what does the utility know about it? Well, we have about 15 account managers that cover our service territory, and they deal with every type of service from residential, commercial, industrial, anything that's in the ground they're dealing with, and didn't really have the time or the know-how to really get deep into the education. And territories to help this this growth continue. And then just today, obviously the main title is working with the LDC. You know, that can be a very short presentation, so just wanted to go over just, you know, what are the factors of CNG growth, go through just a couple of those. Obviously working, you know, some of the things that we're going to need and kind of our process procedures with getting requests, and then just talk about a couple of, we own 2 stations, and just talk about a couple of our experiences. We have 2, let me go back, we have one public one that's at our headquarters in Evansville, which I'll talk about later, and then a private one in Fairborn, Ohio, and talk about our trials and tribulations with trying to expand that. So you know, why is CNG growing? Obviously the economics, the fuel, Vehicle availability is getting larger. The infrastructure continues to grow. I won't talk too much about public policy. You know, you have your federal and state. States are different. Ohio here in the next couple weeks should have a pretty nice legislative document incentivizing you know, the station development plus vehicle conversion, and just really hoping to use some of that shale gas in Ohio to help continue to grow this market. So you know, you talk about the fuel. We are basically, I believe we have more natural gas in North America than they have oil in the Middle East. I mean, it's just so abundant. You know, the recovery of the shale, the ability to extract it out of the ground has created a very conservative estimate of, says 100 years, but probably closer to 150 or more. Once again, very conservative. And that's really priced in North America, unlike oil, which is on a global market. I'm not an economics major or person, but pretty simple. Rapid increasing supply plus a slow growing demand equals a very low price or very low volatility for the time to come. This is obviously a chart. I'm sure everyone who's been in this business has seen that, going back January 2000. Here in 2006, that's Hurricane Katrina. This is a recession, and this is not only the understanding of the shale gas and where it is, but also understanding how to get it out of the ground, the hydraulic fracking. Obviously, you can see the volatility and how low it is moving forward. Compared to oil prices, historically, it's been basically a 7-to-1 spread. So, you know, a barrel of oil was 7 times more than a decatherm for natural gas. Now it's closer to 25-to-1. So you can really see how that is decoupled and has separated, and all of that has to do with the supply. When we look at this, say $4 a decatherm, you're basically looking at 50 cents, a gas gallon equivalent, which is the commodity. As you go to $6, you're looking at closer to 75 cents, or $8, you're looking at $1 price of the commodity per GGE. So if you're looking at $2 a gallon of gas, a gallon equivalent of CNG, you know, about 50 cents of that is the commodity. Well, if that's at $4 and jumps to $6, you're basically only adding a quarter to that price. So that's what makes this so attractive with that low volatility range. And once again, you know, you get to the vehicle, they cost much less to operate. Now, this is, you know, I'm talking about the fuel in general. Obviously, with Class A, you have spark plugs, you have oil that will add costs, miles per gallon, depending on your terrain and your engine size, could fluctuate that. But just to give you kind of a bullet point, you know, at $4 an MCF of natural gas, it's basically selling for the energy equivalent of $22.40 for a barrel of oil. I looked, and it's I think a barrel of oil just dropped to $107 today, and a lot of that has to it had increased due to the turmoil in Egypt. So, you know, with that volatility, it's nice to have this domestic abundant source to help fuel our economy moving forward. At the pump, you know, you're looking at $1.50, $2, just depending on the region of where you are. Looking at vehicles, everyone talks about the chicken and the egg, and in my personal opinion, if I never hear that again, that'd be perfect. We have on a global market, there's 16.5 million vehicles out there, and that's obviously growing. Here in the U.S., we have less than 1% of that, probably about 140 to 150,000 vehicles, and that's just as we see other areas of of the world growing, we still have a long way to go. But what does that mean? That means that vehicles are available and that OEMs are, making these vehicles. So every major car manufacturer up here is making them. They're just not making them here in the U.S. or available for the U.S. So as the infrastructure continues to grow, as the demand continues to grow, they already have this technology. It's just a matter of bringing it over here to the States. Just a simple. This is very, very general. Doesn't take into account any type of station development. This is just if there's infrastructure there, trash truck, which is kind of in the industry considered low-hanging fruit. Pretty easy math to figure out the payback. You're looking at 15,000 GGEs a year. Very conservative, $1.50. There's the savings, the incremental cost, and then you're looking at about a year and a half payback, which I imagine any industry would enjoy that. And then just on a light duty, you're looking at a Honda Civic, the 1,500 GGEs at a conservative $1.50. There's the savings, there's the price. So you're looking at less than a 3-year payback. All these are going to vary depending on anyone's type of application for the vehicle. But like I said, stripping any of the infrastructure or any costs like that aside, just the vehicle, these are the kind of quick math, very general look at paybacks. Infrastructure strategy. We have 150,000 gas stations, 75,000 diesel, and 1,200 CNG stations. It's probably gone up to about 1,250, which almost exactly half are public stations. A lot of people, a lot of prognosticators say if we put in a CNG station every 100 miles on interstate, then we're going to be good to go. Well, we have 60,000 miles of interstate in the U.S., give or take, and we have, if you put them every 100 miles, that's 600 stations, which is what we have. So that statistic is really showing that the fleets are really driving this, not necessarily all of the over-the-road trucks. It's those fleets that are tethered, go, come back, fueling. But obviously, as that hub and spoke continues to grow, obviously so will the CNG infrastructure, and that's where the light, medium-duty vehicles can also take advantage of. Just a couple points on working with the LDC. Just something to note. This is a completely different mind frame for utilities. Usually it's here's your gas load. What type of pressure do you need? And that pressure is usually the least amount that we can give you. So you're looking at a commercial development coming in. What is your equipment? What does that need? Well, this is completely different. We usually, based on your gallon use or what your estimated usage is, can determine a gas load at 1 million cubic feet per hour. The desired pressure is usually the answer is, well, what do you have available? I want as much as possible. And then we look at, well, how many hours per day? What time of the day are you fueling? And what we do here at Vectren is we take that gas load, we put it, we have basically a computer analysis. We put it into our system, so to speak, and see what pressure it would be able to handle our infrastructure on what would be the coldest day in February. So it doesn't really affect the integrity of our infrastructure or our other customers who are pulling gas load off of that line. So that's where it just varies with just a different mind, a different way of thinking for the utility. Also, are you interested in any other locations in the area? And the main reason that this is, a good thought to have is, if you come to us and there's a 2-inch, 5-10 pound line out front, that's probably not going to fit the application for a CNG station. How much is it going to cost to get piped there, or are there other possibilities within the area that we may have a high pressure system in the area to help fuel that, and also, you know, what's your time frame? I cannot specify enough how important it is to really get your utility involved as early as possible. There can be some speed bumps along the road, not necessarily always with the utility, and I'll get to that. You know, you're looking at some other things to consider: natural gas quality. You know, where's the utility bringing that gas in? I know some utilities have an issue with propane peak shaving. So in the wintertime, to boost that that content in that line, they'll inject some propane, which, you know, CNG station equipment do not like, and neither do CNG or natural gas vehicle engines. One of the things that I was talking about just previously about you know, the time frame. One of the things that on a couple of projects we are working on, there are some issues with easements. You know, if we have to go, say, 3,000 feet, but it's across 10 different properties, you know, do we look at going into the right-of-way? Do we look at, you know, acquiring easements, and, you know, is that going to be a cost? It's really dependent upon the landowner's time frame, and obviously we are as involved in pushing as quickly as possible for that, but that's that can be a deterrent, and it can basically be out of the utility's hands as far as moving forward. And then other factors that we have found, and I wouldn't say factors in a negative way, but the local government and the fire chief, and that's where I'll start talking about our Fairborn experience here in Ohio. We have a station here currently. It's private, and it basically is there to fuel our 6 vehicles. We have 5 service vans that are dedicated, and I personally drive a Honda Civic, which is a Vectren vehicle as well. So those 6 vehicles, and looking at the Dayton region, we realized that, you know, obviously there's no infrastructure here as far as CNG stations, and with I-70, 75, the 675 corridor, we really thought that this could be a hotbed for development. So why not kind of push that forward, or push that snowball off the hill, so to speak. So you know, why did we pick here? Obviously the location. Not only is it a great location off of the interstate corridors, but it's also fairly centrally located within our service territory. We already had existing equipment, and plus we had land to go on. How it's set up now, it's just for light duty filling or fueling, but we had the area to grow to where we could logistically have a Class 8 tractor trailer come in, do a turn, fill up, and go on out. So it was really kind of an ideal situation, and something that we viewed as something good for the community, and could really help spur the growth in the Dayton region. Just some of the specifics. We're going to add equipment. We're looking at 24/7 unmanned public access card reader, lighting. We would bring it to grade, landscaping, everything that's going to be compliant with the city, and also have some in and out road access. Like I said before, we had the land as 11+ acres that was zoned commercially here. So the process, what did we have to do? We had to seek approval through the planning board. And that was a pseudo wake-up call for us, as there was a little bit of opposition present, and it wasn't necessarily negative. It was just trying to see what was going on. After a couple sessions with the planning board, we received approval from 7-0 vote, saying it was zoned properly, and we're ready to go on to present to the Fairborn City Council, and that's where we our assumptions and maybe our naiveness really really hurt us. And we worked very closely with the city. The city was a big advocate of this in helping with the city manager, mayor, and economic development department. So, you know, our assumptions looking at this was, hey, this is a great thing for the community. You know, not only is it environmentally friendly, it's really a focus of, you know, the PUC, the commission, the governor. I mean, this is providing a lot of jobs for the state of Ohio, and you know, what a great story using Ohio gas to fuel Ohio business. You know, economic development benefit we looked at, you know, with it being an unmanned station, we weren't really providing any type of jobs outside of the short-term construction jobs, but we view this as an opportunity for you know, small businesses, really anyone with a fleet, to be able to use the station, to almost use it as a pilot on their end to see if, hey, if we have 10, 15, 30 vehicles, converting a couple of them, use our station, see if it works, and then go from there and really grow the interest, you know, grow the demand here, and really see other station developers come in and take advantage of that market. At the city council meeting, we did not anticipate all the public concerns or the grassroots efforts to obstruct us moving forward, and it really turned out to be, in the end, the NIMBY group, the Not in My Backyard. It was a lack of education, and part of that is you know, we didn't do a great job in the beginning of educating exactly what this was. So we assume that that moving forward that people understood that, and didn't really paint an accurate picture of what this station was. At first, it was viewed as like a Flying J or a big truck stop. And then also questions came up: is this zoned or permitted correctly for retail use? So with that all happening within the first council meeting, we were not allowed to present or address the issues that were raised on hand. So we went back to the drawing board, licked our wounds a little bit. We engaged in outside legal counsel. We put together what was probably a 40, maybe 50-page document, answering all their questions in great detail, providing statistics, safety, traffic flow count. You know, there was no base fleet here. It was our 6 vehicles, and then, you know, just growing the market. So as we move forward, we requested to make sure that we were able to present at the next meeting. All said and done, you know, it did get passed at a 5-2 vote. That being said, the opposition did move forward with the appeal process. We're still in that time frame. We're hoping by the end of the year we will have a decision on that appeal, and with all, you know, everything positive and good to go, and it's ruled in our favor. Hopefully, it will just set us back 1 year, as we're looking to start here in the past April, maybe moving forward in the following April. So, you know, what did we learn? Obviously, not everyone holds our viewpoint. We thought this was a great thing. You know, a lot of municipalities want stations like this but don't have the funds, and we were bringing forward the capital to help grow the market and for the businesses and the people in the community to take advantage of it. Didn't really expect the grassroots efforts for the opposition. It was something that we looked at as, you know, there's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of education, but no matter what was said, it basically came back to, you know, it's not in our backyard. And it would have been, or it is located, when all said and done, about a football field away from a residential community. However, there is a gas station on the other side, so just trying to make sure that as we move forward that everything is good and positive. Like I said, do everything we can to educate, and you know, do our homework, come prepared, seek legal counsel before you need it. Make sure that you are representing yourself, And no matter what municipality, town, village, whatever, there's always politics. There's always stuff that's kind of out of your control. But that was just kind of the realization that we had with our Fairborn station. Looking at our Evansville station, it's been around for 20 years. It was installed in 1993 when there's kind of that more policy push instead of the market push that we're seeing right now. And it was a build it and they will come. We put in a little under $900,000 into it. It was really the first CNG station in the tri-state area or in the southwest Indiana, and really looking at the fueling rate, really designed for light-duty vehicles. And then as things kind of grew, in September 2011, we did what was basically a facelift of it. We put in new dispensers. We cleaned it up a little bit. That's kind of when we started seeing more and more growth. This is one of the dispensers, the other one's to the right. We have 3,600 PSI on one side and 3,000 PSI on the other, which you probably won't see anymore with stations that are being developed. We did that because we still have some customers who have been using this for years who still have, who still have some of those requirements. And then in July of last year is when we really wanted to continue with the growth of the station and make sure that the experiences that our customers were having were continuing to grow and to be a better experience. So we installed a new, larger compressor. We're using the old one as redundant or as backup. These three tubes that you're seeing are the original. We had painted, and then on the other side are 3 spheres. So we have 6 storage departments. And also we moved it closer to the station. We put this in what was our parking lot, took up a couple parking spaces, but it's really a straight shot to the dispensers, cutting or making sure it's as efficient of a flow from the storage tanks to the dispensers. The last one was quite a bit of difference or distance between them, and then there's a lot of 45 and 90-degree angles that the gas was flowing. So hopefully creating a quicker, more efficient flow rate for that. Our O&M costs about $12,000 a year. It says that it's not really designed for semi-truck and trailers. We have seen them come in and they can handle it. It's just it's not the easiest access for a 53-foot over-the-road truck. If you come in this way, this is a one-way heading west. So you kind of have to logistically make sure that that you're set up, you know where you're going. We do have quite a few who will drop the trailer. Or if they're in the tri-state area, we'll just bring the tractor over, fill up, and then go pick up their trailer. But very minimal maintenance. We have there's a guard check over here with an emergency phone right here. So if anything happens, there's someone there. Obviously, we have emergency shut-off valves, and then this is a part of this building here is part of our operations center in Evansville. So there's although it's unmanned, there are people there to assist. Once again, we accept all major credit cards, fleet fueling cards. Really wanted to make this as efficient for the customer as possible. Just come. You don't have to contact us. Really wanted to create a situation where it's very similar to a gas or diesel station. In 2012, we did about 10.5 transactions per day, and that's up quite a bit this year, continuing to grow. Doesn't do a lot of output, but as with it being there for 20 years and throwing some capital into it, really creating a nice station, we're really starting to see some growth in that area. And that is all I have. That's my contact information. And if there's any questions or anything, or I'll definitely take them now. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. And then obviously, if you have any questions later, you feel free to contact me.
All right, thank you, Graham. Appreciate that, and appreciate everybody joining in for this webinar. The next webinar will be on September 25th, also at 1 p.m., and the topic will be natural gas dispensers. So hopefully see you guys then. If anybody has any last questions, feel free to type it in. I can wait a second, but thank you for presenting, Graham. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right. I'm going to end the recording now. Have a nice day, everybody.